Hey everybody, it's Matty here with Altcoin Buzz with you on this Sunday, and I hope your weekend is going very nicely. So today we're talking about a whole range of issues and ideas. Quick updates on Tribune.com. Apple has disallowed Bitcoin purchases. We'll let you know what that is all about. And here on prweb.com, the BTSE launches a Litecoin futures trading. So alongside the counterpart of Bitcoin futures trading, this is something that coincides very nicely with the halving, which is basically upon us. We'll take a look at the details there. And then on bitcoinist.com, Max Keiser is calling for potentially, he's not quite predicting it, but he's saying that we could see a $15,000 Bitcoin this week. We'll also take a more in-depth look at this opinion piece on news.bitcoin.com, the modern era of free-range slaves, how Bitcoin breaks the mold. A very interesting and perhaps more philosophical piece that we'll get into. But let's begin first with a snapshot of the market at the time of this recording. Total market cap $287 billion, and Bitcoin sits at $10,645. The Litecoin halving is less than a day away, 22 hours as I describe this right now. And as you can see, Litecoin is actually retracting for whatever reason. It's down 4%, more so than other projects. It's at $91.20. Okay, here in the news on Tribune.com, let's discuss Apple, which has disallowed Bitcoin purchases. A new Apple credit card, which has been launched in conjunction with Goldman Sachs, will not allow the purchase of cryptocurrencies, according to a customer agreement posted on Goldman's website. The Apple Card customer agreement said the card cannot be used to purchase cash advances or cash equivalents that include cryptocurrencies, casino gaming trips, racetrack wagers, or lottery tickets. At least if they're disallowing Bitcoin, they're being consistent and they're disallowing some of these other things, the gaming chips, the gambling websites and whatnot. Goldman declined to comment, and Apple did not immediately respond to request for comment. The Apple Card is part of a broader effort by Apple to derive more of its revenue from services after years of heavy reliance on iPhone sales, which declined 12% in the most recent quarter. Of course, it's no surprise Apple and Goldman are not alone in banning the purchase of cryptocurrency, such as Bitcoin with credit cards. But for whatever reason, I kind of feel like throwing them a little bit of credit here. At least they're being consistent and they're disallowing those other things, as I mentioned, on the same credit card. They're not singling out cryptocurrencies. So I don't know, make of that what you will. Not exactly earth-shattering news. If I want to purchase cryptocurrencies, I'm just not going to be using the Apple credit card. That's kind of how I see it. Let us know your thoughts about that in the comments below. Here on prweb.com, good news for Litecoin. Arguably, BTSE has launched Litecoin futures trading. And in fact, this has already kicked off. It kicked off on the 3rd of August, 2019. There are plenty of reasons to be excited about Litecoin, and they range from the 5th of August mining reward halving to the upcoming addition of confidential transactions through Mimblewimble and extension blocks. So the fourth largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization has previously been integrated into BTSE's platform for spot trading. That happened back on July 29th. But BTSE is now taking futures trading to the next level by improving on the flaws of current exchange platforms, which offer similar services. Correspondingly, users will no longer have to deal with inefficient interfaces, mandatory crypto trades, which complicate the onboarding process, and inconvenient downtimes or overloads. BTSE's Futures 2.0 allow traders to post margin and settle transactions in any combination of fiat and cryptocurrencies supported by the platform. This can be used to achieve a better ROI, a return on investment, while it also integrates the liquidity of several assets and markets. So it's funny we have these two stories back to back about Apple and here BTSE. While one company, the larger, is for whatever reason constricting the availability of products and purchasing power to its consumers, you have another that's doing quite the opposite. So at the end of the day, market pressures are going to drive different companies to come out as winners and losers. I think BTSE is doing the right thing here. I'm not so sure I'm going to avail myself of this product of Litecoin futures trading, but there are many that will. And if that's something that you're interested in doing, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, I wish you all the very best of luck. We're going to link to this article in the description below. If you choose to involve yourself in futures trading, just remember that this is not financial advice. And of course, you got to be careful out there with your hard-earned cash. On Bitcoinist.com here, we have Max Keiser in the news, who is saying that Bitcoin could surpass $15,000 this week. But what is it based on? So early Bitcoin investor Max Keiser tweeted today that he foresees Bitcoin prices smashing through the 15K mark sometime this week amid troubles with centralized government and banking. Max Keiser is the founder of Heisenberg Capital, and he's been buying Bitcoin since the days it was worth only $1. Oh, hindsight is always 2020, huh? Over the years, he has been very vocal in his support for cryptocurrencies, encouraging others to invest and building within the space. He also is a strong believer in Bitcoin maximalism, talking often about how the value in the cryptocurrency space will flow into Bitcoin. And on Twitter, he made his predictions on where he sees the price of Bitcoin going in the short term. Quote, "I'm sensing Bitcoin will cross $15,000 this week. Confidence in central governments, central banks, and centralized fiat money is at a multi-decade low." That's from a couple days ago now, from the 3rd of August. And actually, while I completely agree with him about a waning confidence in some of those institutions, I don't see the justification here for what he is, basically predicting, which is a very sudden and a very abrupt price spike of, I guess, almost 50%. I mean, if that has been the case for years and years now, talking about the collective confidence in governments and fiat and whatnot, I don't see why all of a sudden this week we'd have to smash through that 15K barrier. Anything is possible, however. I feel like many of you already know about what Max is referring to, but for a deeper dive into the nature of what Bitcoin is, of what the fiat monetary system is, you can check out the second half of this piece here. Let us know if you agree with Max Keiser about that 15K prediction. Personally, I don't. I have no problem with it hitting that mark in the weeks or the months ahead. I see no reason, however, why this week in particular is the one that he's highlighting as being so important. Let's segue from this point into a related one and take a look at this piece. Again, a little bit more philosophical, a little bit more of an opinion piece. The modern era of free-range slaves, how Bitcoin breaks the mold. We're on news.bitcoin.com. So John Mcafee, in his bid to become the president in 2020, has been urging people to, quote, wake up, and assuring them that neither compliance with the status quo nor stacks of riches can set them free. And the argument is that humanity here currently inhabits a gigantic fiat money plantation, and that the slaveholders are violent and irrevocably unreasonable. Now, that may be a little bit hyperbolic here, but for the sake of illustrating a particular picture, it's an interesting analogy. Let's continue. You are a slave. Yes, you are a slave. No, that's not hyperbole. Okay, I stand corrected. Before launching into this, though, it's important to define the terms. A generally agreeable definition runs like this one, which has been put forward by UNESCO, quote, "As slavery seems to take new forms, it is still, nevertheless, identified by an element of ownership or control over another's life, coercion, and the restriction of movement, and by the fact that someone is not free to leave or to change an employer." Now, as an educated group of viewers, I know it's not the first time you've heard the idea of the modern financial system being likened to slavery. It's an old idea at this point, let's face it. However, the comparison is always one that I think many people like to use. So let's skip over some of this and get into what John had to say about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and how that technology and that paradigm set us free from this modern form of enslavement. So Bitcoin, according to some, breaks the mold. At the beginning of July, the Dementia Society of America announced it would begin accepting Bitcoin and crypto donations. Quote, "Why crypto donations? For donors in the United States, the IRS has classified Bitcoin as property for tax purposes," something that we've covered recently in another video. When you donate Bitcoin, you don't pay capital gains tax and can write off the donation. You can change lives and honor the memory and legacy of a loved one in a convenient and tax-efficient way. And of course, as you all know, there are all kinds of advantages associated with Bitcoin and blockchain technology, including the fact that fees can travel thousands of miles in an instant for practically zero in terms of cost, which means its utility cannot be determined by a state or a central bank. So from Venezuelan aid to close in Canada, where I am, crypto's ability to sustain secure, reliable, and fraud-resistant charity is actually quite remarkable. And this is what frightens the slaveholder paradigm. It's the fact that when individual users and not central banks or governments hold the private keys to their money, the only way to control it is to attempt a desperate application of force, which has two effects. Number one, proving that the money is indeed secure and valuable, referring to Bitcoin. And number two, showing the state for what it is, a violent, inhumane, controlling force. I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but you get the point that's being made here. And here in a recent John Mcafee tweet, you think you cannot escape your slavery because, unlike me, you are not rich and powerful. Let me clue you in. I am broke and powerless, but I am still free. Please, good people, wake up. Now let's pontificate a little bit here, and I'll throw out this question. Is it ever truly possible to be definitively free? And the answer that I'll propose is no. Let's say in 50 years from now, 100 years from now, let's say the entire world is using Bitcoin, and it's made things more transparent. It's made governments and societies and people and families more free and happy, and we're living in a more just society. Let's just say that's how it plays out for the sake of argument. Well, people will still be reliant to one degree or another on that system. Even if it's a better system, we're still going to be slaves to that. We're slaves to our hunger. We're slaves to our natural and physiological needs, again, to a degree. So can you ever be really, truly free in the purest sense? My argument is kind of no. And there's always going to be somebody like a John Mcafee coming out and disparaging the current system. In the case of what he's saying now, I agree with him. There are a lot of improvements that can be made when it comes to central banks and state monetary and fiscal policy. So I think he and Max Keiser, whom we discussed earlier, are probably on the same page along with myself. But let us know your thoughts on freedom, on monetary freedom, on liberty in general, and how you live your life in the pursuit of those ambitions. It certainly opens up an interesting discussion. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This is something that we'll come back to, but it's a similar piece again on news.bitcoin.com. Crypto is part of free speech, and free speech is everything. If you'd like to check that out, we'll link to it in the comments below as well. But that about wraps it up for the news today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels, and do check into our website, altcoinbuzz.io. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications. Best of luck if you're investing on this Sunday, but have a wonderful end to your weekend, everybody, and we hope to see you again soon in our next video.